Hey guys, it's Kelsey, and today I have another design team layout for Festive Friday. So this one is for National Button Day. So our recipe we had to pick from this time was buttons, scraps, silver, stitching, wood, fabric, quilt or texture, circles, fun fold, and green. So we had to just pick at least 3 from that list to make our layout. And right away, first of all, can you guys look at that list and tell me which 3 you think we used? Because I'm pretty sure I probably used the ones that you guessed. So first, right away, you guys know I was going to pull out scraps. So I did go back to my One Canoe 2 Goldenrod collection. Love this collection, used it all last month, but I did have a few sheets left from my 6x6 paper pad, so I pulled that out to use as scraps, but I'm also using scraps from the 6x6 paper pad, so I kind of get them both used up. I was trying to figure out a way to use these on a layout without having another 12x12 that really coordinated. But then I see that there's kind of quilting and texture on this, and I was like, I can do a quilted pattern with my scraps and make my background myself. So that's kind of where this all started. I took 4 sheets of my 6x6 that I had left over, cut them on the diagonal, and patched them together like a quilt. And that's where my background is starting. My third thing, stitching, surprise. So I am going to go ahead and stitch all the way around this diamond you have in the center. I initially thought I might stitch around every single seam, but then I thought it might look a little funny unless I stitched all the way around the outside, and honestly I didn't know if my hand could handle that. So I was like, well, let me just start by going around this center diamond and see what I'm left with. I started just doing a back stitch, but the stitch was so skinny it would fall between the seams of the paper, so I needed a chunkier stitch so you could really see it laying on top of the paper, and so it could hide that seam. So I went back with a chain stitch, and I just skipped forward really quick because I ended up taking it to the TV to finish stitching, so I didn't do all of that on camera. But now you can see I have a chain stitch all the way around the outside of the square, and I thought that would be good enough. I thought I was going to be doing a lot of embellishment and layers in the center, so I felt like it would take a lot of time to stitch that, cross section in the middle and have it not show. But I kind of like how you have this stitched diamond piece that's kind of going to encircle the main part of the rest of my layout. So that's what I'm starting with. I have my scraps, I have my stitching, I have my quilted, textured layout. So that's where I'm starting with my prompt. And now I have 2 pictures from when we first got to Maui. I've mentioned it before, but we visited my brother on Oahu, and we spent one night on Maui. So we flew there early in the morning and went on a rainforest tour, but we got there like a couple hours early, so we just hung out on a beach until it was time to go. So this lower right hand photo is some driftwood on the beach looking out at the ocean, a part of the other island that kind of loops around the corner. So I thought that was a really pretty picture. I wanted that recorded, and then on our drive to go to the rainforest tour spot where they would kind of take us all to the destination, we passed one of the 2 volcanoes that are on Maui. One of them is inactive, and then one of them is dormant. Can't remember exactly which one this is, but it's really cool because it's really, really high. It doesn't really look that it's that high, but like the top's in the clouds. So I wanted to make sure I got that on here too, because that's not something you really see in Oahu. Oahu's mountains aren't as tall as the ones on Maui, so wanted to record those 2 pictures just because that was kind of our first impression of Maui when we first got here. So this will be right after actually my last Festive Friday layout where I did my little selfie when we got to Maui. But all I'm doing, I cut these photos down to kind of the essential part of the photo just because I thought they were too big otherwise, and I wouldn't be able to really layer with the scraps I have left. So I cut them down to 3x4, and I'm just going through the 6x6 paper pad, all of these scraps that I've had left over from using this paper pad all last month, and piecing them behind these photos as little layers. So it was a lot of fun. You guys know I really love doing this kind of layering, and not all of them circle all the way around the photo. Some of them only go around 2 sides, some of them only go around 3 sides, but I think having all these little layery bits around these photos adds a really cool touch, and you just get these little pops of all these different pattern papers. So I'm getting all of that down. I really wanted to do a lot of little layering around these photos. I didn't want it to take up too much real estate just because I already have this kind of quilted background and then I already have these 2 photos with lots of little layers going around, so I wanted to make sure to try and keep it concise. there's a lot going on in this layout by the end. I think it looks really fun, and it was a lot of fun to make, but I know there's a lot going on this page, so, which I like. I like that some pages are kind of busy and you have to look to see all the details, and that's kind of how this one turns out, especially with the quilted background, the stitching, and now all these little layers I'm adding on top of it. So I just want to get to where these photos look like they have equal but decent amount of layering behind them. I'm kind of already thinking I'm going to stagger them like this, and then I'm thinking I'm going to have sort of something filling in the gaps of those other two quadrants. I want a grid styled layout. I don't know why, because I already have this quilted idea, so doing a grid on top of it, but I just went there. I think at this point I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. I just knew I kind of wanted the photos staggered like this. Oh, I do add a doily behind them because I can't help myself. I love adding doilies to my little layery bits. But then I was going through my die cuts. Thus far, I've only gone through the 6x6 paper pad, but I'm pretty happy with my layers, so I'm trying to figure out where to go from here. I do still have some ephemera from this collection, and I found these two postcard ephemeras that I have loved and have not been able to use since I got it. I love these pieces, and I'm actually working with photos that are that size, and it filled in those quadrants perfectly, so I'm using both of them. I really like how that kind of completes the grid. I wasn't quite sure about doing a grid up until that point, but after I pulled those out and laid them down, I was like, yep, I have to. So I kind of know those are there. I just need to figure out some ephemera and some finishing details to kind of make it feel like it all belongs. So I'm going through ephemera. I do have the puffy stickers and the sticker sheet, which you'll see me pull out, but I don't believe I end up using either of those. I think I just used some of the ephemera pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down the photo pieces, or at least get the doilies together. I know they're going to be staggered like that. I'm just trying to make sure it looks even. And then, oh my goodness, Jennifer sent me some surprise Happy Mail for Halloween. She sent me a whole bunch of goodies, but one of which was this envelope of some little die cut pieces. So I've already been hoarding Ronnie and Lisa's die cuts and stuff. But yeah, these had some kind of skinnier die cut border pieces, which is kind of different. And I thought it would be really cool to pull them in to kind of tie this whole grid together, especially because these postcard ephemera pieces were a little smaller than my photos once the photos ended up all layered, so I kind of needed something to fill in the gap and fill up the other two quadrants. So I pulled out 3 different border strips that she sent me. I really like this loopy circular one. That she also sent me some with like leaves and then one with arrows. I end up going with arrows by the end, but I think I'm using the loops right now, so it's going to sit there for a minute. There are also these cute little white tags in there, and then some little floral die cuts. So you see I pulled out 2 of the little white florals in the upper right hand corner, so those are all going to make it on here. I thought these little tags were the perfect proportion to kind of tuck and add another layer to my photo areas. I definitely want those 2 pieces of the quadrant to stand out because it is the photos. So I'm still building there. I did decide to modify the twine. I wanted, because all of this is like miniature on this page, I'm using 6x6 pattern paper, which is already smaller scale, smaller photos, small layers. And then now these tiny tags. So I did end up taking the twine she put on them and double looping it so that it was shorter but thicker. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And then I'm going to end up putting those little floral die cuts over the tags as well, over the photo. So that adds a really kind of delicate, cute little layery detail. It's a lot to look at, I know, but it was so much fun to do. So that's kind of where I'm going. I'm going to go ahead and start gluing stuff down, though I know I need to do this quadrant. I just need to make sure I get the spacing right. So that just kind of takes me a minute. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this challenge. You can't give me stitching and scraps and me not go crazy. So initially I thought I was going to do a lot more stitching, but once I was doing a chain stitch instead of a back stitch, it already took me a while. I decided to start this project at it was after midnight by the time I started it, and by the time I finished this layout, it was after 3 a.m. So it was my weekend. I didn't have to work the next day, so I was like, why not just scrapbook? I got really excited by this challenge, and that's just what ended up happening. So I think that's about how everything's going to be spaced. I do end up kind of wiggling the postcards after I decide I'm going to go with the arrows and where I want the arrow border strip placed. But you can see me kind of working with the floral die cuts, so I'm just getting a little bit of glue on that. I'm going to let it dry a little bit so in case I end up moving them I can, but I just love how it's looking. There's just so much going on and I love it. I definitely wanted to pull in some ephemera, so I do have these really cute little sunglasses and that little cacti. I love this little cacti that comes in the ephemera. I don't know why I thought it was relevant to Maui, but I did. So that's kind of going to go one on each postcard and then a little border strip on each postcard, just so there's a little something fun on those pieces as well, because I know there's a lot of layers going around the photos and not a whole lot other stuff going around with the ephemera. But I did end up popping the 2 die cuts up on some foam, so there's a little bit of dimension and interest there. And then I think I will go, I'm still thinking I'm going to do this little circular border piece, but which is really super cute. But for whatever reason, I decided to change to the arrows. And I feel like I've been doing that a lot whenever there's a photo of like a mountain or something. I've been going more towards an angular, like chevron, triangle type deal. So I don't know if that's what influenced why I decided to change to the arrows. I also liked how the arrows were pointing from the ephemera cluster towards the photo cluster. I think it kind of drew your eye to that as well. But yeah, I'm going through my hashtag sticker book right now. You can also see that sheet of puffy stickers. I was thinking here, I was looking at this strip of the just patterned strips, I guess. I don't know how you would describe this specific sheet. It almost looks like washi strips, but it's not. It's flat stickers. But I was thinking about maybe throwing a few in to kind of layer up different areas, peeking behind all these other areas, but I realized I really didn't need it. There's already a lot going on in this photo. I'm still going to add border strips, so I didn't really feel like I needed to add sticker layers as well on top of everything. So I keep that sheet open to stare at it for a while, but end up not doing it. I do go back to doing these arrows, so that's where it's going to go. I'm going to trim it down a little bit so it keeps it kind of more within the grid. But I think that ends up looking really cute. So I'm going to get that glued down. You'll see me play around with some of the puffy stickers, but as much as I wanted to incorporate them, because I love these puffy stickers, and I've been having a hard time using them. I don't know why, they're adorable, but I think by the time I use my scraps and my ephemera and my sticker book, it's just like too much if I add all of them. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy. I think it's just this specific layout, maybe because I put so much other stuff in it. But yeah, I end up taking whatever puffy stickers I try out off. So, but I just trimmed the arrow pieces down, so now you can see it's the same width as the ephemera, so it's still nice and square. Then I just mirrored them across the layout like that. I'm trying to figure out what I do next. I'm pretty sure I try, these puffy stickers. So I had this idea that I would use the same sunglass puffy stickers as I used as ephemera and the same cacti puffy sticker as I used as ephemera and have them in the opposite corners with the opposing die cut. Looked super cute on the cactus. I thought it was really fun putting sunglasses on this little cacti. Thought that was adorable and thought it would be really cool if I could find a place for the little cacti puffy sticker to go up by the sunglasses, but that just kept looking awkward. So then I was like, well, maybe I won't use the cacti. Maybe I'll just use the sunglasses. And then I was like, it just looks a little ridiculous. Maybe someone else will get a kick out of it. But I love this little cacti die cut and it's just cute on its own. So I was like, you know what? I'll save the sunglasses for another layout. But here are the close-ups. I will link Festive Friday's info in the description. Make sure you check out everybody. There are details on how to enter this challenge if you would like to play along with us. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.